So, what if you could actually get better at anything? That's the big promise we're digging into today. We're going to break down the core ideas from Scott H. Young's incredible book, which uncovers the real science of how we learn and master new skills.
You know that feeling, right? You're putting in the work, you're practicing like crazy, but you just feel stuck. It's like you're on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're working hard, but you're not actually moving forward. So what's the deal?
And here's the big idea that changes everything. The problem isn't you. It's not about some talent you either have or you don't. The real key, the thing that determines whether you succeed or fail, is the method you're using to learn.
So first things first, let's just tear down this huge mental block that holds so many of us back, this whole myth of natural talent.
This quote just nails it. Mastery isn't some kind of buried treasure you have to find. Nope. It's a machine that you build piece by piece. It's all about having the right process. So let's figure out what that process looks like.
All right, so who's our guide for all this? Well, to really get the process, you have to meet the guy who literally wrote the book on it, Scott H. Young.
And this is why his ideas are so powerful. He's not just some academic sitting in an office. This guy is a human guinea pig. He actually goes out and puts these learning theories to the test in some of the most extreme ways imaginable.
I mean, just get a load of these ultra-learning projects. He took on the entire 4-year computer science program from MIT and crushed it in just 12 months. Then he did something called the Year Without English, where he learned 4 new languages by living in 4 different countries. These aren't just little side projects. This is stone-cold proof that his methods work on seriously complex skills.
Okay, so let's jump into the first of his 3 big keys for getting good at something fast. He calls it the principle of directness.
Now, that sounds almost laughably simple, doesn't it? If you want to get good at something, just do that thing. But here's the catch. This is the #1 trap that almost everybody falls into. We spend our time doing things that are kind of like the skill, but not the skill itself.
And this is the trap right here. We do what he calls proxy activities, reading a book about swimming instead of, getting in the water, fiddling with your PowerPoint slides for hours instead of actually standing up and practicing the presentation. We do it because it feels safe and productive, but it's not the real thing, and it's not where the growth happens.
So how do we fix this? 2 simple steps. First, get crystal clear on your target. Don't just say, I want to learn to code. Say, I want to build a simple website for my portfolio. Make it an action. Second, create a tiny pilot project. Don't try to write a 300-page novel, just write a 3-page short story. It forces you to go through the whole process, start to finish, right away.
Okay, so once you're doing the real thing, how do you make that practice count? How do you get better faster? That brings us to key number 2, drilling down on your weaknesses.
Think of this as being a surgeon with your practice. Instead of just doing the whole thing over and over again, you break the skill down into its tiny parts. Then you find the one part that's holding you back, your bottleneck, and you attack just that one part with laser focus.
And this is so different from mindless repetition, right? It feels good to play the whole song because we get to breeze through the parts we're already good at. But real improvement, that comes from deliberately finding that one tricky part, that 4-bar passage you always stumble on, and playing it again and again and again until it's perfect.
Here's your 3-step attack plan. First, deconstruct the skill. Break it down into all its little pieces. Second, be brutally honest with yourself. Which one of these pieces is your weakest link? And third, design a specific drill, an exercise that does nothing but target that one single weakness. Then, just hammer away at it.
All right, our third and final key is a total game changer, especially for how you study or remember information. The idea is simple, but it is so powerful. You need to retrieve, not just review.
So here's the deal. Passively rereading your notes feels like you're learning, but it's one of the worst ways to study. Real learning, the kind that sticks, happens when you force your brain to pull information out from memory without looking at the answer. It's like lifting weights for your brain. It's hard, but it's what actually builds the muscle. See, our brains mistake the feeling of familiarity from rereading something for actual understanding. But the real test, the actual mental workout, is when you close the book and try to summarize the main ideas from scratch, or even better, try to explain the concept to a friend. That's active retrieval, and that's what makes knowledge stick.
And you can start doing this immediately. After you read a chapter in a book, just close it and ask yourself, okay, what were the 3 big takeaways? Or try this, the blank paper technique.
Grab a blank sheet of paper and just write down everything you can remember about a topic. It is the fastest, most honest way to see what you actually know versus what you just think you know.
Now, to tie all three of these keys together, let's look at one of the most powerful examples I can think of. Someone who used these exact principles to become an absolute legend. Vincent van Gogh.
You know, we have this romantic myth of Van Gogh as a born genius who just picked up a brush and created masterpieces. But the real story is so much better. The truth? His early art teachers told him he was clumsy and had zero talent. He was literally kicked out of art school.
So how on earth did he become one of the greatest artists of all time? He used our three keys, even if he didn't have names for them. For directness, he didn't just sit in a studio. He went out into the fields to paint real farmers. For drills, he knew he was bad at drawing people, so he obsessively drew hundreds and hundreds of hands and feet. And for retrieval, he was constantly studying other artists and begging his brother for honest feedback, forcing himself to learn and apply new ideas. Van Gogh wasn't gifted, he had a process.
So, that's it. Let's boil it all down. These are your keys. Number 1, practice with directness. Do the real thing. Number 2, drill your weaknesses. Find your bottleneck and fix it. And number 3, retrieve. Don't review. Always be testing yourself.
And I just want to leave you with this one final thought. Don't get overwhelmed and try to do all of this at once. Just pick one. Seriously, just one. What would happen if, for the next year, all you did was focus on being more direct in your practice, or spend just 15 minutes a day drilling your biggest weakness? How much would you improve? The change could be absolutely life-changing.